Good afternoon, Year 5, Mr. Turnbull here, and this afternoon we're going to be looking at LGBT History Month 2021, and we're going to be looking at courageous LGBT plus women. So February is LGBT plus History Month, okay? So this has been happening since 2005. It supports equality and diversity. And did you know it began in the USA as a result of the success of Black History Month? So what do the letters LGBT stand for? So lesbian is a woman who is attracted to another woman. Gay is someone who is attracted to a person with the same gender as they are. Bisexual is a word that describes someone who is attracted to more than one gender. For example, a woman finding men and women attractive. Trans is the T, and that stands for a word used to describe people who feel the sex they were given at birth doesn't match the gender they feel themselves to be. For example, someone who is born male may feel that they are a woman. And did you know, sometimes this is also seen with a plus at the end like we have earlier on, and that's a sign on the end to include any people who don't fit exactly into these areas. So we are going to celebrate LGBT plus month by carrying out some historical research. I love a bit of history and this is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these pieces of work. So we'll be looking at people who have achieved great things from the LGBT plus community, and we're specifically going to be looking at women for this. Okay. So our learning objective today is going to be to use and evaluate a range of historical research methods. And our learning question is going to be, what is courage? So in the dictionary, courage is described as the ability to do something that frightens one, bravery, or strength in the face of pain or grief. So just have a think, have you ever shown courage in anything that you've done? Or could you use a fictional character who you think is courageous, or someone in real life who you know is courageous? Just have a quick think. What does courageous mean to you? So, this is going to be the focus of our research today, and this lady is called Gail Lewis. So Gail Lewis was born in London in 1951 and is known for her work in the Black women's movement. As a teenager, Gail became involved with organisations such as the Black Liberation Front. She went on to some feminist events, but found that they were very focused on white women's experiences. At first, Gail was nervous about going into the black women's groups because she was worried about people being homophobic. However, she decided that the aims of the Brixton Black Women's Group were important enough for her to give it a try, so she's shown quite a bit of courage there to even join the group. She left it a while before she came out to the group, and at first she was the only openly lesbian woman. So coming out just means that she's basically told everyone about how she feels, okay, and who she loves. So Black Brixton Women's Group was formed in the 1970s. They aimed to challenge racism and give women a space for political discussion. Originally, it was a study group, but it soon became a community base and a campaigning organisation. The group aimed to represent black women in a way that other organisations didn't. At first, meetings were held in the women's homes, but in 1970 they opened Brixton Black Women's Centre. The group dissolved once the original members of the group had moved on. Gail was also involved in forming the Organisation of Women of African and Asian Descent, OWAAD for abbreviation. In 1987 that happened. They campaigned around a range of issues impacting the black and Asian women. These issues included immigration, domestic violence, school exclusions, health and policing. So really important matters that affect a lot of the country, well, all of the country for that matter. Gail is still an active contributor to the feminist conservations. She is a published writer, an academic and a trained psychoanalyst. Sorry. She currently works as an academic studying gender. here are some documents that are from some of the groups that this lady was a part of. So have a quick look at the posters. Do you notice anything? What do you think about them? Okay, have a quick look and see what you think. So this is our next courageous woman. This lady is called Jan Morris. Jan Morris was born in Somerset in 1926. She was trans and didn't tell anyone she was a woman until the 1960s. For this reason, her parents raised her as if she were a boy. Jan's first job was at 16 as a reporter for Bristol's Western Daily Press. When she went to fight in World War II, Jan's writing had to wait. So that's another form of courage, isn't it, if she's been out to the war. When she was 22, Jan worked for the Arab News Agency in Cairo. I wonder if anyone knows where that's the capital of. It was there that Jan met her wife Elizabeth. This was before Jan's transition, so her marriage was seen as a marriage between a man and a woman at first. In 1964, Jan came out as trans and began her transition. There was very few openly trans people at the time, so this will have made life especially challenging. Jan wrote about her experience of being trans in her book, Conundrum. I wonder if anyone knows what the word conundrum means. If you're in class, just pause the video and talk about it. Can anyone find out tell me the meaning of the word conundrum? If you're at home, you could use a dictionary or the internet to try and find out. I wonder if that title gives us a clue about anything. Jan was a travel writer, and one of her most famous books was a biography of Venice. Her book remains one of the most read books about Venice. Jan's 3-volume of history of Britain, Pax Britannica, is another particularly well-known piece of writing. In 1953, Jan was a journalist that reported on Edmund Hillary's expedition up Mount Everest in 1953. In 1956, she was also the first person to prove that France and Israel had collaborated to invade Egyptian territory. So another key event in history. Jan was a writer for her entire life, spending much of her time writing from home in Wales. She published her book, Thinking Again, just a year before she died on the 19th of November 2020. And here are some pictures, some primary sources of this lady, and there is one of her most famous books, Pax Britannica. So we're going to use research and the knowledge you have gained to complete the tasks on the next slide. So you can come back to this video to read some information. You can pause the screen so you can see some information on the person that you choose to do some research on. And you can choose at least 3 tasks to complete. So there's a list of tasks. Try and do the one that you find that you think is going to be most interesting and the one you're going to get the most out of. So these are the tasks for today, and they're all about inspiration and courage. So what does the word inspirational mean to you? Talk about the idea of inspirational people with a friend or family member. Write a short paragraph to explain what inspirational means. Write about someone or something that inspires you, explaining why they are inspirational. Now for this task, we're probably going to choose the 2 people that we've just read a little bit of research on, and you could even do a little bit more research on them to find out what you're doing. Name as many inspirational women as you can. What things have they got in common? What things make them different from each other? So again, we could use these 2 people as a comparison. And remember, we're looking at the LGBT community. What does the word courage mean to you? Write a short paragraph to explain what courage is. Think about a time when you were courageous. Make a comic strip to write a diary entry to explain what happened and what you did. So think about when you were courageous. Have you had any courageous moments in your life? And the final one, are there things that people might not think of as courageous or brave now that might have been courageous at the time? What might those things be and what might have changed? Talk about your ideas with an adult, an older sibling, and see what you come up with. So, remembering it's about the LGBT community. If you're doing internet searches to do a little bit of research, remember that we must use KidRex. We don't use any other search engines. and enjoy yourself, Year 5. I really look forward to seeing some of these. I love how it's got a bit of a history element, so it's right up my street. I really look forward to seeing some of your answers. Good luck, and see you in school soon.